Assalamu alaikum, guys. Welcome to Freshly Grounded in my room. This episode that you guys are going to see is shot in the studio. It was the very final episode that we shot in the studio about 2 weeks ago now, and it's with a brother called Tanayah Sam. I'm going to speak about that just in a second, but just to let you guys know, obviously we are going through a unprecedented time right now, a time when we're having to be isolated, a time where alhamdulillah, we can be safe in our homes and inshallah protected to the best of our ability from the coronavirus. But before the pandemic happened, we were raising money with Human Appeal for children and families who are escaping war in Syria. Now, look at what we have done and how much we would like to escape the virus, which is normal. Not saying that we're doing anything bad, but we are trying our very best to keep staying in our homes. We're trying our very best to get the food that we need to make sure that we're safe, we're warm, and our families are good. Look how many precautionary measures we're taking. Now think about people who are fleeing, but they've got nowhere to flee to. And that's the situation in Syria, and that's why, guys, sparing £5, £10, whatever you can while you're in isolation, would mean a great deal. So you can do that by going to justgiving.com/freshly-grounded. That's justgiving.com/freshly-grounded. Also, if you are a fan of this kind of thing, if you're a fan of the podcasts, then you can support us by becoming a premium subscriber for around £5 a month at the minimum. And you get access to every episode early and all kinds of fun stuff. So do check that out, inshallah. And with that being said, this is an episode with Tanayah Sam. Tanayah, wow, what an amazing guest. This is a guy who has been in prison, I think 4 times, he said. And he was homeless and he was on the run from the police and all sorts of stuff. And he was in gang crime. This is all back in the day in the 1980s and 90s, and he turned his life around, and he has now just released a book which is available. It's called Tanayah Sam, After Hardship Comes Ease, I believe. I hope I haven't got that wrong, because that will be incredibly embarrassing. So I'm actually going to double check that, because this episode was shot, like I say, some time back. After Hardship Comes Ease. Amazing conversation with an amazing brother, and I think you guys will really enjoy this one, man. So enjoy this episode with Tanayah Sam of Freshly Grounded. Oh, by the way, after this episode, obviously, because we're in isolation, all of the episodes will be through through tech, through kind of video calls and stuff like that. So enjoy. This is the first of what hopefully is as many episodes as possible, possibly, inshallah, daily episodes. All right, guys, enjoy.
And welcome to Freshly Grounded, the brand new podcast by best friends Faisal and Sam.
Huh?
I said welcome to Freshly Grounded,
After that bit.
the brand new podcast
And after that bit?
by best friends Faisal and Sam.
Really?
Bro, I wanted to start by talking a bit about Birmingham, actually, because I was speaking with another brother a few weeks ago on the podcast, Zaf, and we were talking about kind of the areas in Birmingham, and about how the areas in Birmingham are the people from each area are very territorial with regards to their area, which I suppose happens in London as well, but I suppose we just don't, or I don't necessarily see so much. But apparently in Birmingham, it's very apparent. If you're from Spark Hill, you're from Spark Hill, and it's very clear, and you don't really. And so, what's that like? Do you notice that much now? And has it changed much over the years? How long have you been in Birmingham now?
I've lived in Birmingham all my life.
Fine, that helps.
Yeah.
And so how has it changed over the years then?
I think in terms of the youth, the Shabab, I think are more territorial than previously, because I remember back in the 80s and the 90s, it would be like ghetto. So ghetto will be Aston, Handsworth, Newtown, Lozells, Winson Green, and that was more of a unification of that's ghetto. And then we had a place called Sodom, which would be Lee Bank, Borsall Heath, Highgate, Moseley. But today you will have more. Handsworth is Handsworth, and then you got top side and bottom side, and then you got the B18, Winson Green, Hockside. Then you would have the LOZ, which is Lozells, and then you got B6, which is Aston. So it's all very much split up, and I think that's come about really off the back of the conflict that I was involved in for a period of time between Burger Bar and Badder Bar v Johnson's. So I would say that's kind of where it's broken ghetto down into more postcode.
So when you were involved in gangs, was it in the 80s? Was it 80s
The
and
90s,
90s?
90s, and then early 2000s when I exited.
And then was it mainly around Birmingham?
Yeah, it was Birmingham, but we had affiliations to particular gangs in, say, Manchester, particular areas in London and Nottingham. So there's always that link up, and the rivals had their link up with different areas, different gangs from different cities, and we kind of took sides as well. So, say for instance, we was more down with Gooch crew, and which is from Manchester. So, Duddington, man, we weren't really down with as such.
So I read on an article that I was looking online. It said that it said something like Tanayah first picked up a gun at the age of 14. Was it? What was it?
First picked up a gun at the age of 10.
At the age of 10.
First fired a gun at the age of 14.
Oh, fire! Yeah, that's what it said. It said Tanayah first fired the gun at the age of 14.
Yeah.
So that's a life that seems very alien to probably a lot of people listening. What was life like back then? Why is it that at 10 years old you picked up a gun? Why is it at 14-year-old you fired the gun? And this is all in the UK. We're not talking about like a situation where, for a lot of people in the UK, the question arises, how can you even get access to a gun? And at 14 years old, not only is it easy to access one, but it's easy to fire one. What was life like for you back then?
To me, it was normal, like I was to me, I felt like a normal kid. When I picked up the gun, it was my uncle's gun, found it in the wardrobe. So that was just, to me, it didn't impact my life, just holding his gun. And it's not something I don't think it had an impact as such. But when I fired the gun, which was given to me by my dad, then that was more like I fired a gun, man's a G. Going to school the next day thinking I'm bad.
Did you tell people?
Nah, I don't think I really told anyone, to be fair. Nah, I don't really. Nah. No, I did. I told people, but they weren't school. It was friends out of school.
It's crazy how this idea of a gun can almost like prop up your ego because of what we see in the movies, because of like what the association a gun has. It means power, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And essentially, with our egos, it's power is what we're after. So because when you have power, you're respected. When you have power, you get what you need. And so it's almost like that gun is like a symbolism of that, right?
Yeah, for most definitely. And I think like at the time, when you think of, it was back in 94 when this happened. So 94, during that period, I was transitioning into sound systems. So I had my own sound, me and my friends. And a lot of the youth back in Birmingham, they had their sounds. It was like different crews had their own little sound systems, and we used to play parties, house parties and like community centres. And there was that yardie, the yardie scene. So we was hearing about people being shot. We was aware of people backing out guns in parties. And then there was the films like Menace to Society, Juice, Boys in the Hood. So there was that, I'd say that influence that, yeah, man, I fired a gun. No one else ain't fired a gun at school. So I kind of thought I was hard.
So I know your journey. A lot of it is kind of you. First of all, in your book. Your whole journey is in your book, which we'll speak about in a second. But also, you've mentioned that you've kind of spoken about your journey on various podcasts and various interviews. So, I don't like the idea of making you repeat yourself.
Yeah.
And I know what it's like having to repeat yourself over and over again. Also, I like Freshly Grounded to be more of a conversation than an interview. So, if those people who kind of want to hear about your story from like beginning to end, they're gonna have to get the book first of all, which is and I think at the time of this recording out now.
Yeah, so inshallah it'll be out now. But I will emphasize it's part 1 of part 3.
Okay, fine, alhamdulillah. Part 1 and part 3 of the book is out now on Amazon.
Amazon, www.tanayahsam.com, and on Kindle.
We'll put the link for it in the bio,
Inshallah.
inshallah. But so I'm intrigued as to so those people who kind of want to see the story, they can read it in the book, or they can see the other interviews. But I'm intrigued as to kind of like, you see people, the fact that you were able to transition from that, and the end result is that you're now you've written your book, B, you're a Muslim, and C, you're in schools trying to help young people not go into the life of gang, or not go into the gang life, or to, if they're already in it, to leave it. So it's amazing to know, if we like pull out on the macro and see that that's what the journey was. But I'm intrigued by, like, for example, the transit. So let's go straight to the transition point. So you're in the gangs and you're mainly around Birmingham. How did your life start changing? I'm intrigued by that.
You know, during the little conflict where it was brewing, and I remember walking down the road with my brethren, and we're talking about the people that are being shot and what's going on. And he first mentioned to me, he was like, "Yo, you know, we're going to be questioned in our grave when we die." That was like, wow. Because I was initially a Rasta. Initially I was a Rasta, and my aunties were Jehovah's Witnesses. And so I was always intrigued with faith, always intrigued with the Creator. Why am I here? Always interested in the stories of the prophets. I used to go Bible studies with my aunties. So when he mentioned that was like, he planted a seed that just wouldn't stop growing. The next time I thought about Islam was actually seeing an old friend. And I was at a crack house, and a friend was riding a bike, and I shouted him out the window, and then like we've gone out like walk on. But I noticed he was wearing the kameez, you know what I mean? And then he started giving me dawah, and then I went back into the crack house to carry on selling crack. But I'm thinking about what he said.
Do you remember what he said?
No, I don't. I can't. No, I've been making it up. But I remember he threw some tawheed at me. And then I remember talking to my friend who's currently serving a life sentence. Wow. And me and him was talking, saying we want to be Muslims when we get older and we get married. And then it was just little intermittent things that will pop up. And although I'm on the roadside, I'm thinking about, I want to be Muslim. And then I went to jail, and then and
how long were you in jail for?
I was in jail for, on that occasion, it was almost a year that I was in jail.
How many
and I
times
thought the world, I've been in 4 times.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been in 4 times. And on the third occasion, the world was supposed to end according to Nostradamus.
2012?
No, 1999.
I was going to say 2012.
Was it like July 1999?
Okay.
And I remember that night, it was raining, it was thundering, the guys were banging the windows, the cages on the windows. I want to die, come on. And they were kicking up the doors, and it was chaos. And I remember just dropping on my knees and praying. And I fell asleep praying. But before that, on the day when we were all talking about it, there was one Muslim brother goes, don't worry, Sam. Only Allah knows when the world's going to end. So that's the first time I heard Allah. So I'm hearing little things about Islam, but he says Allah. So when we woke up the next day and the doors open, I went to his cell like, yo, who's Allah? And he's like, here, brother. And he gave me the Quran. And then I took the Quran, brought it into my cell, read Surah Al-Fatiha. I'm like, what?
In English?
Yeah, in English. And then started reading Al-Baqarah in English. And then from there, it's like, yo, I want to know more. So he brought me to the mosque, Friday prayers, should I say. And then I took my Shahada.
Wow.
But I came back on road. And although I had this, the intentions to change, I just didn't know how it was going to happen. I saw one of my rivals pulled out a gun on me. And I was like, nah, no one's not pulling out no gun on me again. So I went back to the trap house and went back to hustling to make money for a gun. And then once I brought the gun, I had that feeling of power. So when I brought another gun, then when I brought another, ended up with 5 guns because I wanted that power. wherever I would be, I wanted to make sure there's a gun. But at the same time, I'm still thinking about Islam. By this point, I don't know nothing about Salah.
Did you recognize yourself as a Muslim at the time? Is that how you identify yourself, or you don't know?
Sometimes and sometimes nah.
Fine.
I don't think I really understood.
Fine.
And then, you know what I mean, the shootings Brum was nuts. For those that know, the late 1999s to the early 2000s, Brum was crazy and people were dropping. And I just was like, nah, I want out, man. I want out. And I did an armed robbery. And that armed robbery, I knew I was going to go to jail for it. Went on the run, and I took that as my opportunity to change.
Fine, so let's pause there because I want to know about the run. So you say you knew that you were going to get down for the armed robbery. What was it? Was it just a sloppy job? Why did you know?
Yeah, it was very sloppy. It was stupid because and I call that what a fool chapter. What a fool. Because there wasn't really no money to be made.
Oh, really?
I just wanted to go link two girls. I weren't really. It wasn't a thing where I'm thinking, oh, I'm gonna get paid off this. I'm thinking it's more about the power and the irrational thinking. So that's what came about from that.
You do that. You realize, okay, we're gonna get done for this, and so. What, you jump on a flight?
Nah, so a Muslim brother was a taxi driver. He picked me up one day from town. I remember being on the steps in town with a gun and a Bible and a Quran. I was just trying to figure things out.
Wow.
But the brother, he asked me, am I Muslim? Because I had sideburns. And I goes, I'm trying to be. And it was him bringing me to the masjid. And introducing me to brothers. It was Green Lane Masjid actually that he brought me to, and then I got charged, but I was on bail, and I knew I was going to jail in it, so I raised the money, got a passport in a different name, got a driver's license in a different name, and flew to Yemen a day before I was supposed to be in court.
I'm shocked that it's that easy that you could just get a passport in a different name and it gets accepted. We're talking about the late 90s though, right?
Nah, it was a particular way I got it, which, yeah, it would be accepted. I mean, yeah.
I see. Fair enough. Wow. So you go Yemen because you think that's it. I'm definitely going. How long would you have gone in prison for?
My barrister says I'm looking 15, so.
Oh, wow.
Pardon.
Okay, so you go Yemen. What's Yemen like?
Yemen was sick.
But didn't you just always have that feeling over your shoulder, like thinking that?
Nah, because once I went to Yemen,
you felt safe.
I didn't have that feeling. I felt safe, but also it was like, because it was like 6 months of turning. To me, that's when I turned Muslim. That's when I truly understood, you know what I mean, having the ikhlas and the yaqeen, the sincerity and the certainty of La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. So when I went to Yemen, I had already started reading. And what I was reading in the books, it's like I was seeing it when I could see the people, you know, where we was in a place called Shahada, there was no electricity. And the houses were built out of clay. And everyone was just friendly and humble, and people were studying, and that was like the dream at the time. That was the dream for me.
But when you landed in Yemen, how did you know where to go, what to do?
Oh, I had brothers had arranged for people to pick me up.
Okay.
And then to stop with brothers once I was out there. And then, yeah.
Did you think you were just going to stay there all your life?
Nah, because I didn't have enough money. Okay. I just wanted to be a better person because I knew I would always go to jail, and I wanted to be a better person once I did go to jail.
Oh, so you knew in the back of your head that you're going to go to jail?
I knew I was always going to go to jail, yeah.
Do you think that a lot of people go through that when they get charged and they're on bail, that they feel to run away? And then they run away? How common is that?
I don't know, you know, because like I only know 2 other people that have from my community that have been on the run and have lasted like over 2 years.
Wow.
Because I lasted 4 years.
Wow.
So
How did you then? What happened? Did you decide to come back yourself?
I came back just before September 11th.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
Alhamdulillah, I'm glad, because if I had come back after September 11th, I would have been incarcerated from then, because the brothers that were coming back were getting arrested. So when I came back, basically I'd run out of money, and I'd run out of money because I was experiencing issues with jinn over there, and we didn't understand what was going on, so we kept going hospital and kept spending the money.
Okay.
So kind of ran out of money and ended up after just under 5 months coming back to the UK. Wow. And then coming back to the UK, I was homeless, so I had to deal with that, deal with the struggles of that.
Well, and you was homeless and you was dealing with jinn issues.
Yeah, by then, my jinn took it Shahada, so alhamdulillah, by the time I had come back, I weren't having no issues.
That's mad.
But that's why I love Yemen, because that experience, it's like that's some movie thing.
Do you know what? I was gonna
I mean?
say, you know, when you said that you were sitting on the stairs with like your gun, your Bible, and your Quran, I was just thinking that's like a movie poster. Like I can imagine his life in a movie, and like the poster is like the guy sat on the stairs. He's got a gun in one hand. He's got the Bible and the Quran in another.
The gun was in the pocket, and then I was reading the Bible and reading the Quran, and I was just trying to
Figure it out.
like, because obviously all my life I knew of the Bible, but then here's this Quran, and it's saying similar things as well. You know what I mean? It's saying similar things, but I'm leaning towards the Quran.
So when you came back from Yemen, were you upon certainty
I was
at this
on
point? It's like this is the truth.
Yeah. I was yakeen, man. I was yakeen, and I came back.
Then how did you deal with homelessness then? Like, how was that?
Well, that was tough, man. That was, I'm not gonna lie, that was tough. I was very, very slim. I was married at the time. Weren't able to really provide for my wife. Slept on the park bench, sneaking in the masjid to sleep in the masjid, and just sofa surfing. But dua, man, dua.
So when you see Musa doing what he's doing for the homeless, with the shoes, with resale and stuff, can you empathize with, you know, he was saying on the podcast episode, he was saying that, you know, we walk past the homeless as if we're better than them, and we don't even see them. And he said, now that the type of work I'm in, now that I'm in that work, he goes, it's like I see every homeless person, like I actually see them.
Yeah.
Like I can't not see them, and when I see them I feel like I need to help them in some way, each individual person. Do you feel like because you went through that experience that you share a similar kind of feeling?
I feel like my homelessness, to a degree, was by choice, because I'm on the run, and because I could have stayed at mum's, but I've got the fear of the police coming there. I could have stayed at certain family members, but I would have the fear of the police coming. So I think my homelessness was kind of by choice, but I'm trying to evade capture. As the people that are homeless, I think their circumstances are more dire and more difficult. Yeah.
How did you eventually get caught then?
I finished a night shift at Land Rover. I was working for Jaguar Land Rover.
Okay.
And I finished a night shift, and the neighbours were making noise, so I couldn't sleep. I thought, you know what, let me take my dirty clothes to mum's and get them washed and try and have a little nap. And when I was driving down the middleway, the motorbike came up on me and was like, why down the window? So I was like, yeah. He goes, when did you buy this car? I goes, yesterday. He goes, now we got reason to believe this car's been involved in a firearm incident. Khalas. I just knew I was gone. Because I'd previously been stopped on 4 occasions by police, and I'd been able to produce my documents, and they let me go. So when he says that, as a motorbike policeman, he cannot come and approach somebody who they believe there's a firearm in that car. He can't approach me. So I knew that they had me. And also, there was.
Do you think they was waiting for you?
There was a stop check. Basically, once they had arrested me, I had been made aware that they had known that I was what masjid I was praying.
Really?
But they didn't want to go and arrest me at the masjid for fear of disrupting the congregation. And they had known roughly where I was living. So they had the intel, which can only come from 1 and 2 people that was close to me.
Wow.
But alhamdulillah, it was a weight off my shoulders once they took me in. And then it was the next chapter, innit? Because now I'm in jail.
And how long did you end up getting?
9 years.
And did you serve I
served 5.5 years. Got out on my second parole. 13 prisons.
13 prisons?
Yeah.
Were they all in Birmingham? Where were they?
Just
all over the country?
Yeah. From up to Lincolnshire, and in the Midlands, and yeah.
Okay, so I studied criminology at university, and a lot of our modules were about prison.
Yeah,
and we were always trying to figure out. They call them. I think they call them like the 5 R's or something, like reform, rehabilitation, etc., etc., etc. And there's too much. Oftentimes, there's a lot of attraction in a prisoner going back to prison, right? Which didn't seem the case for you because you was on the run. So, by literally definition, it's not like you wanted to go back to prison. However, as you know, there's a lot of people who just want to go back because life is simpler and they become accustomed to that life.
Yeah.
However, there are a lot of people who are in and out of prisons, and for a certain period of time in your life, that was you. You were in and out of prisons. Why was the last time? What made you flick that switch? And what was like, I'm never coming back here?
It's from when I started to practice Islam and I started to understand my purpose. Why am I here? Why is everyone, you know what I mean? Start to value life, command the good, forbid the evil, understanding that, crime is crime. And it doesn't matter if you're a roadman, that which is haram, and you've got to follow the law of the land. So once I started to understand those principles, being a Muslim, I knew that I'm done. Don't get it twisted though. There was many times where the temptations, the waswas in my ears, there's many opportunities that kept presenting themselves before, whilst in prison and since coming out of jail. But I also understood that the principle that all of our wealth is written. So knowing that having a true belief that Allah has already determined how much I'm going to make in my lifespan, I know that it don't make sense me going down the haram path and committing crime because I'm going to make that money. I just need to do it legitimately and work hard. Then once I was in prison, I felt like mentally I was more advanced than many of those around me.
Because you had that knowledge of like, okay, Allah is the truth, Islam is the truth. It is like that, innit? When you start practicing, you start thinking, I almost feel like I've unlocked a level that I didn't know existed. And now I can understand why things happen. And I have like a bit of patience knowing that my money is written for me, my wealth is written for me. Yeah. It's a different mindset, right? Yeah.
And I started to see feel a sense of purpose being in prison, where I used to read the prison law books. And I'll see a situation on the landing with a prisoner and a prison officer, and I'll interject. And I found that I was having the prison officers up because I understood the law. So more and more cases, I started defending the cases. And then also because I had some Arabic and I had studied a couple of the basic Akida books, that I was able to go in there, and that what made me a bit more advanced to many of the guys that I was around, and I was teaching them what I had learned. So that brought attention from the authorities, and so I was dealing with that as well. So I kind of felt like this is my battle, this is my war. I don't need to fight a man because he lives in a particular area or he associates himself with a particular group. I need to fight the battle of the oppressed prisoners. And that's how I felt at the time.
Wow.
So that was like my calling, you know what I mean? But since then, I've worked in 16 prisoners. I've worked in 16 prisons, so I understand it from the other side now. As an officer, and I understand, not that I was an officer, but working in a prison as a staff member, I can see the difficulties that they have as well. So I see it from both sides of the fence now. So yeah.
Did people ever, seeing your transition, did people ever, so you mentioned that one of your friends from Jahiliyyah he's serving a life sentence now.
Yeah.
Do you have any, like, do you visit him or people like him? That's one part of the question. But the other part of the question is, from your time in Jahiliyyah, did people ever see your transition and then be inspired by it, and then they made the transition towards, you know, practicing Islam because of you and because of your story, because of your journey?
Yeah. So for the first part, yeah. When I was working in the prisons, I had a rule that I wouldn't visit no prisoner, because I had prison keys. So I was on the system. And I didn't want to flag it up, and I wanted to take the amana, the trust, very seriously. That I'm now working in prisons, I'm trying to help the prisoners. So I didn't visit nobody, but I was still in contact with many of the guys. And then in regards to people coming to Islam off the back of my journey, then by the mercy of Allah, I think that I did inspire some. I was going around giving dawah. Once I come back from Yemen, like, I was giving dawah hard. I did a number of shahadas with some of the guys and girls from the community, and alhamdulillah, some embraced and some they never embraced, but you know, they still spoke of how my transition helped them. So alhamdulillah.
When you go into schools now, because you're in schools on a weekly basis, right? Schools, colleges, what do you say to the youth? And are you speaking more so to youth that are you speaking to just generally to the youth, or are you more so going to schools and areas where there's a lot of gang crime and youth who are already in gangs?
So after we've gone a little tangent. After I was working in the prisons, I came out after 5.5 years, because I felt that in the prisons, it's like, you can't really, there's only so much you can do. So I wanted to stop the youth from going to prison in the first place, as many young people as possible. So I set up TSA projects, and our reputation is more as the organization that works with the more harder to reach and the youth that are involved in gang affiliation. But we work with young people, because young people, every young person has the potential to commit crime. Every young person has a potential to be influenced to go down the wrong path. So our focus is working with young people as a whole. But of course, those young people who are already involved in certain things, I feel like they can relate when I'm speaking to them about my journey. Some young people, I feel like, yes, I've had an impact on them. I can see their brain ticking. And then there's some, it's gone in one ear and out the other, and they do their thing. And then there's some young people, they never listened, but then they come back to me and say, yo, I got arrested, I should have listened. Everything you said, it happened, da-da-da-da-da. So it varies, but I just always look at it as, I am there to pass on a message, to command the good, to forbid the evil, and the rest is down to their own journey. I cannot change anybody. All I can do is feed them information.
It must be frustrating though. It must be frustrating though, because you're seeing these young people and you can see your messages going in through one ear out the other, but because you've been in that situation and you've seen others in that situation, you can almost say, look, I don't know the future, but I can predict the way you're going. I can predict how your life's going to turn out, because I was there. And you must feel a sense of, if only you just listen, please. Like, it can really change for you. Like, I managed to change, but you don't have to go through all of this to change. You can just change now.
Yeah, I remember going to a youth club in Handsworth, and I remember speaking to a group of youth that they just reminded me of me and my friends when we started. And I told them, I predicted, I said, this is what's going to happen. Allah knows best, because only Allah knows the unseen. But I told them that which I feel like is going to happen if they do not change their ways. And it's gone exactly that way. And some of them, I still speak to. And they say, yeah, I remember when you were saying that still. But for the most part, they've turned out exactly how we've turned out. And it's pretty much going to be the same for the next set of youth that are trying to fill their shoes. There ain't no winners, man. There ain't no winners in it. So
let's say if someone is listening to this and they're going through what they're a young person, they're going through what you're describing, how do they contact you?
They can so I got Instagram, Tanayah at Tanayah TSA, I think it is.
TANAYAH TSA.
Yeah, and then there's Tanayah Sam, Twitter, Facebook, and then there's TSA projects on all the social media platforms as well, and they can reach out.
How did you then? So we're going from prison to like working in prisons, to then working in the schools, and then we look at kind of in more recent times it's become a bit more mainstream where you're working with Anthony Joshua, the Lucozade, and you were doing something with Prince Harry. Talk to us a bit about that. I feel bad because it almost feels like we're rushing the story on because there's so much we can take from each stem. And that's with Maghrib, we're like fighting against the time of Maghrib, like coming closer and closer and closer. But alhamdulillah, we've still got another half an hour till Maghrib, so it's not too much of a problem. But I'm intrigued as to so what was that journey like? What was that transition like? Why? And then what is it that you're doing with these kind of on a mainstream platform now?
Okay. Firstly, that's why it's part 1 of part 3, because there is a lot to tell. But with the mainstream side of things, I mean, I've been very fortunate. There's been people that have opened the doors for me. As somebody who's got that lived experience, and I'm talking that authentic lived experience and has authentically exited, I think, to be fair, it's rare. And so some people... For some agencies, they don't want me through the door. And then there's some that want me through the door because I feel like I can speak and enable them to understand better what's going on. Because this working with young people is a big money industry. We've got to remember that. There's a lot of charities and people that are making a lot of money off the back of it. So... through going through some of those doors, it's enabled me to speak at certain summits, be involved in TV programs, and get into the media's eyesight, so to speak. With the Anthony Joshua and Prince Harry thing, that was the launch of Made by Sport, which is a conglomerate trying to raise 40 million to provide sports for the underprivileged. So I was honoured to be involved in that. The Lucozade Sport, that was for me being recognised by Lucozade Sport. I was one of 50 people recognised by Lucozade Sport on what they call the movers list of people that are doing things that are not really being seen and spoken about, but they wanted to acknowledge it.
Wow. That's amazing.
So yeah, because it's not about the pat on the back, but it felt good at the same time that they could see and appreciate what we're trying to do and give us that little bit of exposure.
I feel like you need your own podcast, man. You need to get your voice out there for real, because no matter how many people try and change things with the youth, things with society, there's, like you said, an authenticity when it comes from someone who's been there, done it, but has come out the other end. And like you said, there's not many people that can say that. And the fact that you have a genuine need and a genuine want to help people, there'll be people out there who, like you said, have never heard of you, but they need that guidance, they need that assistance. And they can't speak to their mom and dad, they can't speak to their brothers and sisters, and they just want to say, Tanayah, look, this is what I'm going through. And it's almost like having a podcast where you're just sharing your journey and you're just sharing like how you managed each and every, part of that will be so beneficial. Do you do much?
You planted the seeds, so we'll see where it goes.
We'll see, inshallah, man. It's not hard. And if you need any assistance with it, I'm here.
That'd be appreciated.
Let's talk about the book. I'm very intrigued. And for those listening, this isn't a sponsored episode of the podcast, but so we're not trying to like advertise. Well, naturally, inshallah, we're going to try and make sure that this book does well. But I'm genuinely intrigued by it. So the book's called After Hardship Comes Ease, and it's based on your journey. You're saying this is part 1 of 3.
Yeah.
It's out on Amazon. Oh, TSA publication. You published it yourself.
Yeah.
Oh wow, a self-published book.
Yeah.
How did you find that journey?
It's
not easy, innit? No one published. It's so hard to get publishers, right?
I did. I think it was 2013. I first spoke at.
Do you mind if I open it up?
That's your book.
Because it's crisp. Oh really?
That's
Thanks.
yours.
Oh,
the first seminar I did at the University of Cambridge was in 2013, and I remember them saying to me that you should write a book. But I wasn't confident in that. And then over the years, I've had people saying, you should write a book, you should write a book, you should write a book. But it's the confidence. Just didn't have the confidence to the point where last year, my mum, if I remember, it was my mum said something, and I was like, nah, you know what? I need to make this happen. I need to just get on with it.
Bro, it's a large book. Like you really, it looks like you share. It's not a joke. Like you really shared a lot in this, and this is part 1, but it's a very large book. Allahumma barik.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah.
I'm skipping to a chapter that I'm intrigued by. I want to know who Sumaya is. I'm gonna find out for myself though. Who's Sumaya? I'm gonna have to ask you.
Sumaya, rahimahullah, was my girlfriend.
Okay.
In Jahiliyyah.
Fine.
And when I came to Islam, I parted ways with her, believing that I needed to cut everybody off to become a better person. Alhamdulillah, she also embraced.
Wow.
And I had the intentions of marrying her, but she got married.
Wow.
And then I found out that her marriage didn't work out. But I was in prison. And I was trying to make contact with her, and I remember having a dream, and I'll have to read the book.
No way. I'm trying to skim read it so I can just find out what happened, bro. But we're on a podcast, so I can't. I have to keep talking. Wow. Do you know what, bro?
Sumayya's always been like a voice in my head, someone who's influenced me over the years, and I've always kind of wanted to make her, from amongst the people, her proud of my change. So yeah.
I'm going to put this book down because it's already captured me. I'm going to read this, inshallah. But it's written very well. I'm just skimming through it. I'm a fan of books, man. Are you planning to make this into an audio book?
We've already started on the audio.
Okay,
I say the audio is like a movie because it's not just me reading the book. There's the sound effects to go with it and everything.
Oh, I've heard it. I've heard that.
So,
you played that. That was an amazing trailer, by the way.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna put it down, but this is very, very interesting. We're just gonna look.
So the audio will be out June. I'd say about June, July. We're looking to make the audio.
Are you gonna put it on Audible?
Yeah, it's gonna be on Audible, but I'm thinking of making some of the chapters be available on the Spotify and.
So the names of the chapters of this book, we've got Handsworth Carnival 1990, Black Heat, Burger Bar Terrorists, Rites of Passage, Badder Bar Crew, Mum's Order, Welcome to Jamrock, Johnson's Crew, Frontline, The Call-In, Trap House, The Pullback, Waterfall, Sumaya, Damage, Daily Struggle, Time's Up, Brotherhood First, Redemption 2007, Final Word. Wow, man. This looks like
it ends in 2007 and we're in 2020.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow, we got 13 years to catch up on, inshallah. But you know what, bro? So how was the experience of self-publishing? The reason I ask is because I know that getting a publishing deal is a really helpful thing financially.
Yeah.
And so sure. I really hope that and pray that if it's what you want, that people pick up this book, they read it, and then you actually get a publishing a deal off of it, because a publishing deal is, I don't know too much about them, but I know that you get a fat paycheck at the beginning of them, and that can really help people out, man. And I know brothers it's changed their life because you got a story to tell, and I asked Allah put barakah in the book itself, but for it to grant you success, man.
I mean, I was speaking to a literary agent who had made contact with some publishers, but if I had gone down the publishing route, that would have come out 2021.
Oh, really?
And I wanted it out this year.
Yeah.
And also,
but you'll hold weight now. You'll hold power, because when it comes out, if it flies off the shelf, that's it. They're going to be coming. If you say, look, I want it out next year, they're going to be like, if that means that we're going to lose the deal, we'll do it next year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You hold power with it. So I rate that you did this by yourself.
Yeah. And to be fair, like 2020 is the era in which you can do things independently.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So for me, I've had the finances to create a marketing strategy, to publish the book myself, and alhamdulillah, the risk is with Allah, man. So yeah. And as I said, and if they come and talk good, then we'll look at potentially this or part 2, but otherwise I'm happy to just push it out on my own. The thing with the publishing deals is they give you the advance, but then they need to make back that money. So if they give you a good check,
I can imagine,
they need to make back that money off that check,
right.
And then also the ownership, because within the music industry where they got the publishing deals, there's ways in which the artists can own rights to their work.
Okay.
But with the book industry, it's just going to the publishers.
Yeah, do you know what? I know nothing about the industry at all, really, to be honest. I'm sure you know a lot more than me, but all I know of is I know of a brother who, I know a guy who got a book deal.
Yeah.
And, man, I can't remember who published his book in the end, because they were bidding for it.
MashaAllah.
And he said that he managed to pay off his house with it.
Alhamdulillah. It's possible. It is, for sure.
I was like, what? That's all I know about the industry. That's all I've ever heard about it. But I thought, oh, I need to get myself a book deal. They just if they really believe in your product, they just give you a advance like that.
Yeah.
But then you're saying that
because remember, it's gonna go global at the moment. For those that are our overseas viewers, then for sure go onto Amazon.
Because he was like a fitness, he was like a celebrity fitness coach or something.
Yeah.
So I think that he was hitting, I think he was just ticking a lot of boxes, but obviously, you're right, it has to make sense for them, and they obviously do it because they in the long run, a lot of the times it's the publishers who win. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. But alhamdulillah, there's some conversations being had, with some production companies. So inshallah, we see where this goes. It's Allah's the provider in it. So
very true.
I'm good as long as people read it and take benefit. They can benefit from it. Then alhamdulillah, it's done its job.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. So you're doing the schools on a regular basis now, the schools and the colleges. Is that something that you want to continue doing long term?
So with the organisation and what I do, we do schools and colleges, but we also work with young people in the community that are referred by social services, and likewise those that come out of jail. We support them as well. We have a program called Street Elite in which we are supporting. Well, it's a sports coaching program for 18 to 24-year-olds, and we're getting them into employment. So we're working with some corporate companies as well. Likewise, we deliver training to all those who work with young people and work in the criminal justice, to be fair. So whether it's police, prison officers, social workers, youth offending, youth workers, students. So yeah, I'm busy. And then recently, last year I had the opportunity to go to Guyana and speak over there at a summit with the USAID. So that was like a really, really nice experience and built up a few contacts off that. And started getting involved in the humanitarian work, supporting disadvantaged children in South America and Africa, and kind of that there is really something I'm passionate about. So I was recently over in the Gambia at Spot projects, and I need to just mention Spot Project because I think they're doing amazing work, and I think those who are donating should feel reassured that their money is going to good use, and they're doing what they say they're doing, and if they can visit, go and visit, man, because Spot's doing, and I take inspiration off what they're doing.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I've never seen anything like it. It's amazing. We're gonna be there, inshallah, just before or just around Ramadan time.
Inshallah.
Depending obviously now on the situation with the whole trial, because at the time of this recording, we're recording this on the same day that they've got the meeting, and it's looking like some countries are starting to ban flying and stuff. So it's looking a bit difficult, man.
Very deep times, but alhamdulillah, with Islam and you know what I mean, with faith, you know, we know ultimately everything's in the hands of the Creator. So we're not gonna fall in despair.
So it's also tough to understand, like, to what extent what you're seeing on the news is dramatized and to what extent it's not. And the truth is that we don't know the answer. You don't know, because it could be over dramatized, could not be. There's people saying, you know, it's like the flu kills more people, which is fair, and there's other people saying that's not the case at all, and this is definitely something to be extremely worried about. And the crazy thing is that there's quote unquote experts on both ends. So you just gotta, like, you don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Everyone becomes an expert with these situations. You know, like, say for instance, when there's been an extremist attack, people will say, well, you know, it's such and such, but the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has told us about the Khawarij, Kilabun Nar, dogs of the hellfire, and so they exist, and we can't dismiss that the Khawarij exist. And likewise, the plague, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has warned us, don't go to the place where he's infected with the plague. And so we understand that these things are real, but of course, the way they come about, we know Shaitan's real, and we know his plan is ultimately to get us all to the Nar, to the hellfire. So we just have to always return it back to Allah at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Really, realistically.
Alhamdulillah. I think we're like just a couple minutes away from Maghrib, so we're gonna have to round it up, unfortunately, because this was. I think there's gonna be a lot of people commenting, asking for a part 2. We're probably gonna have to have a part 1, part 2, part 3 of the book, and a part 1, part 2, part 3 of the
Inshallah.
of the Freshly Grounded journey.
Jazakallah khair for having me. I
feel like I haven't done it justice, bro, because because of the lack of time and stuff. I feel like we could have delved so much more into just each part of the story, and I know there's a lot we haven't spoken about
for sure.
And sometimes I told you at the beginning that we prefer to almost have just like a deep conversation rather than like an interview, right? At Freshly Grounded. But I think sometimes it's important to, like, I feel like we really understood your story now, and then the next time you come, we could just have a nice chilled out chat. At the same time, I would love for you to come back. I think if you're going to do a part 2, part 3 of the book, then it only makes sense that you come back here for part 2 and you explain to us about part 2, and then you come back here for part 3 and you explain to us about part 3. It means the world to us. Jazakallah khair for coming down. Honestly, it means the world. You travel from far, man.
Alhamdulillah. Well, I was in 2 schools in London today, so alhamdulillah. And to be fair, the kids that I worked with today, I've enjoyed.
Really?
I've enjoyed being with them today.
What drives you, man? Like, what drives you to carry on? Because it can't be easy sometimes. There's, like you said, sometimes the kids are not receptive to it and stuff, but you keep on going, you keep on pushing, you genuinely want to change people. Where does that drive come from?
I seen someone post something. One of the best feelings is when you help someone who can't help you. And that's kind of like, when you help someone who can't help you, and then also Allah says command the good and forbid the evil. You know what I mean? So I'm a man full of sins, and I'm trying to cleanse, and I keep falling short, and so I hope that this could be a means to assist on Yawm al-Qiyamah. So inshallah, alhamdulillah, I enjoy it as well. I don't feel like it's work as well. I always say lifestyle, because I don't feel like it's work. I enjoy being around young people as well, man, because they make me feel young.
Alhamdulillah. You're young, man. You're young.
Alhamdulillah.
Where's the jacket from? Let's give it a quick cheeky plug.
My Real Cover. Yeah,
Alhamdulillah.
My Real Cover for sure.
Is that a good brother of yours?
My Real Cover's a high-end fashion brand.
Okay. Bro,
they got
it
some.
looks it.
they got some bits.
That's
still.
gonna be shining in 4K, bro, on the screen. People will be watching like, whoa, alhamdulillah. Barakallahu feek, man. Jazakallahu khair for coming down. Thank you so much for giving my own book. I'm gonna definitely read it, inshallah. Anyone who wants to grab this book, they can get it at Amazon. Amazon by searching After Hardship Comes Ease by Tanayah Sam, or by going to
the website www.tanayahsam.com.
and then inshallah we'll get the audio book soon.
Yeah, for sure.
Barakallahu feek.
Inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.